Jai Hind everyone. Welcome for the discussion of question answer of the chapter from the diary of any friend. Let's join quickly so that we can start our discussion. All of you be quick. I'm waiting for you all. Yes, who has joined? Be quick. Just tell me your name and so that we can start our discussion. Be quick everyone. Keep on telling me your names. I can see some of you are joining. Keep on telling me your names so that we can start our discussion. Okay, I'm starting. Fine. So the very first question is what? Since we are here to discuss the questions and answers of from the diary of any friend, the very first question comes is what makes writing in a diary a strange experience for any? Ravi Dubey, welcome. Riyus Rai, good morning, and let's start it. Fine. What makes writing in a diary a strange experience for any friend? So for writing in a diary makes very strange experience for any because she has never done it earlier. Since it was something that she had never done it earlier, and that is why it was a very strange experience for her to write in a diary. And another thing was what was that she felt Debasmita, good morning, and she felt it was something that is like it was a true friend for her, because whatever she would tell it to her, it is never going to be revealed. It is the secrets that she is going to Santosh Verma, Satyam Verma, good morning. uh, Whatever the things that she would write in the diary, it is never going to be revealed, and nobody will find out what is there written. Good morning, beta. So this is the answer. The very you can simply write. It was very strange experience for her because she has never done something like this earlier. And next question is, what does any want to? Why does any want to? Aman Verma, good morning. Next question is, why does any want to keep a diary? So, what is the reason that any wanted to keep a diary? So, as we all know that she has written in the story that she was very much alone in this whole world. Why? Though she had a very good family, a loving father, a loving sister, a mother, and 30 people, around 30 people to whom she could call a friend. But still, she was feeling like she was very much alone in this world because she needed somebody who was a true friend, and so, to whom with whom she can actually share her feelings, and that is why she wanted to keep a diary, because she felt it was very much like a true friend to her, and whatever she would tell it to the diary, it is never going to be revealed to anybody. Fine. So this is the answer of this question. Next question is, why did anything she could confide more in a diary than in people? So she has written a line in this story. You can quote that line. The line is like this: that paper had more patience than the people. The line is something like this: paper has more patience than the people. So after quoting this line, you can mention, sir, what is your name? My name is Pratap Pandey. So she has actually mentioned that paper has more patience than the people, and that is why she felt like that writing in a diary would be a very good idea. And in this way, she can actually, whatever the thoughts are there, whatever the secrets are there, whatever she feels like she cannot share it with anybody else, so that she could put it in the diary on the paper, and that's how it will always remain very secret to her, and it will always remain very dear to her. Next question is what? Our next question is, why does Annie provide a brief sketch of her life? So she provided a brief sketch of her life because she wanted her readers to get acquainted with her. She wanted her readers to know her. Yes, Aman Verma, good morning. She wanted her readers to know her, that who she is, and where she belongs to. And sir, I have a question, may I ask? Yes, 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 definitely ask, beta. What is your question? Ask your question. Okay, first of all, you ask your question, then I'll start the discussion of this question. Be quick. Okay, let me finish the answer of this question. The question is what? what does any why does any provide a brief sketch of her life? So she provided a brief sketch of her life so that the so that her readers could get acquainted with her. So that Jai Hind sir, good morning. Ayush Srivastava, yes, Ayush Srivastava. I hope you are listening, and I hope you are just going through all the answers and questions of this chapter. So she wanted her readers to get acquainted with her. She wanted her readers to know her, that who she is and where she comes from. And because she felt like ki, if I'll start telling my story without telling about myself, then perhaps people will get confused that who is this story about and what is this story about. So that is why I need to tell about my life. So that is why she has in the beginning only she has given a very brief sketch of her life, like about her parents, about where she lived, where was she born, and where did she live. So all these things he has provided in the beginning of the story only. Next is, what tells you that Annie loved her grandmother? So uh, in the story, she has mentioned that in 1942 her birthday was celebrated in a little grand manner, and it was to make up for the birthday that she has not celebrated in 1941 because her grandmother was ill. Good morning, Arvind ji. And she has mentioned in the story that when her grandmother passed away in 1942, along with the candles on her birthday, her grandmother's candles were also lit, and as well as she has mentioned it in the story only that she cannot express, she just cannot express that how much she loves her grandmother, and she always loves it. She doesn't know whether everybody else knows about her or not, but she knows that she loves her grandmother so much. Sir, I am new, to tell me what you teach. I am teaching English class 10 and properly. Hello. Okay, next question is question number 8. Why was Mr. Keesing annoyed with Annie? What did he ask her to do? So, in this question is something like this, that most of the time when Annie was there in the class, she used to talk. Pravesh, paper has more pages than people justify. Sir, explain. Definitely, I'll explain it to you. But very first, let's finish this question. What was Mr. Why was Mr. Keesing annoyed with Annie? What did he ask her to do? So Mr. Keesing was annoyed with Annie because he always found Annie talking in the class, and she was whenever she was talking, it was a bit disturbing for the whole class. It was a bit annoying also. So that is why he always found Annie annoying in the class, and he asked her to write an essay on the chatterbox. The very first essay that he gave her to write, that was the topic chatterbox. Then after that he further gave her two more essays, and that was one was incorrigible chatterbox, and then the other was quack Miss Chatterbox. So this is how he had actually given her, and she used to disturb. Yes, she used to disturb the whole class. And now let us come to the question that someone has asked over here. The question is, paper has more patience than people, justify this statement. So it's very simple to justify it. Like, whenever you put something on paper, whenever you write down something in a diary or in a form of, like, wherever you are writing, so if you are not going to give it to somebody else, then the whole thing, that whatever you have written, whatever you have said to the paper, whatever you have put on that paper, it is never going to be revealed. Nobody is going to get to know that what you have written until you give it to somebody else personally. So in this way it remains wherever you have put. But if you tell your feelings, if you tell something to a person, then probably you cannot believe that person, that whether he or she is going to reveal it to somebody else or not. Maybe very quickly the whole world may get to know that what you have said to him. So that is how she wants to say paper has more patience than people. Now next comes how did Annie justify her being a chatterbox in her essay? So in the very first essay she has written that talking is a habit of students. Sir, which class are you teaching? I am teaching class 10th, beta. So in the beginning only, she has mentioned in the chapter that uh, when Mr. Keesing had given her homework to write an essay on chatterbox, so in that she has defined that being a student, it's a habit to talk, and that is why she cannot cope up with this habit. She cannot just avoid it. She cannot just leave this habit of talking. And the other reason for of her talking is that her mother is also talking so much. Her mother is also like her only, if not less than, if not more than, she is also talking as much as she talks. And that is why perhaps it is something that is inherited property in her. And perhaps you cannot do something about the inherited property when you inherit something from your parents, and that habit is never actually never going to leave you. So that is why it is something that is inherited from her parents. So these two reasons that she had given to her teacher. Do you think Mr. Kissing was a strict teacher? So, if we talk about Mr. Keesing, so Mr. Keesing was definitely not very strict teacher, because in the beginning we have seen that he had given any 2 3 times homeworks, but in the last homework when she had written about it, the quack, the duckling story, in that she had actually tried to explain that there was a uh, uh, father swan, and he had actually due to him only his children ducklings died. Because of what? Because he always just stopped them, he always just taunted them. And that is why she wanted to express that perhaps Mr. Kissing was also becoming like that swan only, and she is like the duckling in this story. And since then Mr. Kissing stopped giving extra homeworks to her, and stopped being strict with very strict to her. So in this way we can get to know that Mr. Kissing was not very strict, but definitely he was somebody who was very much well aware of welfare of the students. Sir, which chapter from the Diary of Annie Frank chapter is going on? Chapter number 4 from Footprints Without Feet, class 10th English. Fine. Next question is, what made Mr. Keesing allow Annie to talk in the class? So Annie's essay, the last essay that she had written, that was in the form of verse, and which was actually in that, it's from the diary of, yes, beta Pravesh, you're right, it's from the diary of Annie Frank. The last the last essay, actually that was not an essay, that was written in the form of a verse. She had written it with the help of her friend whose name was Sane. And when she wrote in that the story, when after that Mr. Keesing got the story, he understood what Annie wanted to say. And after that he had never actually taunted Annie in the class. While I was searching for chapter on, I found that okay beta. Okay, next question is, was Annie right when she said that the world would not be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old girl? So, if we talk about that thing, Annie was not right in that thing, because today the whole world knows who Annie Frank is, who Annie Frank was, and definitely if people would not have been interested in her musings, if people would not have been interested in a 13-year-old girl's story, then definitely perhaps we might not have been discussing over here. And now we can get to know that she was wrong over there. She had never seen, she had never foreseen the future, that what is going to happen. And today this has become one of the most read stories of the world. It has been converted into several TV series. Annie Frank's real diary will be shown to the world in 2029. Okay, that's very good fact. We have got to know that in 2029 the real diary is going to be shown to the whole world. That's very good thing to know. Now, next question is, there are some examples of diary or journal entries in before you read the section. Compare these with what Annie writes in a diary. What language was the diary originally written in? What ways Annie's diary different? So Annie's diary was entirely different from most of the examples that was given above, because it is something that normally we do not have something very much personal to, we do not write something very much personal to it. So Annie's diary was very much different, because she had written like it was a very much personal friend for her. It was very much a dear friend for her, and she had even given it a name also. Kitty was the name of her diary. And The original language of the diary was Dutch. She had written it in the Dutch language. Later on, it was translated into several languages, even including English. And that's how the whole world has come to know about Annie Frank. Next question is, why does Annie need to give a brief sketch about her family? So I think we have discussed this question earlier also, and now let's move on to next question. How does Annie feel about her father, her grandmother, Mrs. Cooperus, and Mr. Keesing? What do these tell you about her? So Annie feels that her father is the most loving, or uh, you can say somebody like whom she could admire, and the most loving father in the whole world. And if we talk about her grandmother, she tells that nobody knows that how much she loves her grandmother. Mr. Cooperus was the first lady for her, for somebody whom she had actually cried when she was actually leaving this school. She was in the first grade at that time, and when she was leaving that school, Mr. Cooperus was headmistress in that school, and she cried for her a lot. And Mr. Keesing, we have already got to know that he was a good teacher, and how he used to give her a lot of homework, and every time uh, she used to come up with a very beautiful thing. And in the end, Mr. Keesing got to know that he should actually stop giving these kind of homeworks to uh, any. So, what does Annie write in her first essay? In her first essay, we have already discussed. In her first essay, she has written about this thing, that how this habit of talking is actually a student's trait. And hello, Ayush. Uh, Sir, send question chapter 4. Questions, definitely I'll send it. Don't worry, beta. And I have shared the PDF in the group, Aman. If you go through the PDF, you'll find all the questions. Don't worry about that. And even if after that you want me, I'll share it. Fine. And next is and he says that teachers are most unpredictable. Is Mr. Keesing unpredictable? So Annie took a very perfect example of Mr. Keesing, that you do not know that what teachers are going to do, because being a mathematics teacher and giving a homework of writing an essay was something very much like astonishing, something very much like surprising. That how come you get a homework like this? To write an essay on a particular topic from a mathematics teacher, because an English teacher may provide you a language teacher. Yes, beta, in PDF only it is there. Fine, in PDF only the question, all the questions you will find. Fine. So whatever the questions I'm discussing, all these questions are from the PDF only. So that's how she actually describes that how teachers are unpredictable. You really cannot get to know that what teachers are going to do very next. What do these statements tell you about Annie Frank as a person? Very firstly, we don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we do not confide in each other. So it shows that Annie was very much reserved. She did not believe on anybody, though she used to play with them, though she used to have a lot of fun with them, but still she was very much reserved. She did not share her feelings with anybody else. And next statement is what? I don't want to jot down the facts in the diary the way most people would, but I want the diary to be my friend. So with this statement, she actually wants to say that she is very much self-assured. She is very much self-confident and inventive. That she doesn't want to go to, the way like all the other people are doing. So that is why she want to be very much different. She want to do something differently, and that is what it shows her self-confidence. And next is what? Margot went to Holland in December, and I followed in February when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. So it shows that she is humorous also. Like she was given as a birthday present to her sister. So it was it creates a bit of humor in the story. So she is a bit of humorous also. Fourth statement is, if you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept bare, but teachers are most unpredictable creatures on the earth. So see, with this statement also you can get to know that she is humorous, as well as she is very much intelligent also. The way she actually tells things, it shows her intelligence. Anyone could ramble on, ramble and I need notes of chapter 1 motion class 9. Okay, fine. Don't worry. Okay, next is anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with the convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. So, when Mr. Kissing had given her homework to write an essay on Chatterbox, she felt like that if I just want to complete the homework, I can definitely do it. I could write some words and definitely leave big spaces between those words, and in this way, I can definitely complete 3 pages of it. But she wanted to come up with a convincing idea. She wanted to be very much original. That she just want to convey that why is she talking, and so that Mr. Kissing would stop telling her, stop actually annoying her in the class that you're always talking. So this was the thing. That means she had actually a very convincing attitude also. Fine. So this is the question answer of this chapter, and thank you so much. Let's hope see you all at Amit Jaiswal. Good morning, beta. And if you have not actually gone through right now, you can after when I finish up this video, after that also you can go with the whole video. You can find out all the questions and answers, and you have to write it down in your copy, and you have to send it in the WhatsApp group at 4 p.m. today. Fine. So thank you everyone. Jai Hind.